Am I live? Is it working? It looks like it. Okay, great. It worked. I just had to refresh my page. I had it on since yesterday when I planned live. And then with this old laptop, I just pressed go live and then I had to wait for or something like that. I really need a new laptop. Anyway, who's in the chat now? 9 people. Oh, that's amazing. Thanks, guys, for showing up. That's so cool. So who's here? Come and say hi. Even if you plan to not participate in the chat, just nice to know who's here, right? And tell me if you can hear me properly and all that stuff. Just waiting for this chat to start moving a little bit. Yeah. Oh yeah. Hello, Mare. Hi, honey. Nice to see you. Thank you for doing the VR. That was so much fun. I also love that you just cracked open this huge beer when you did the tower for your, the cleaning up your closet. That was really fun. Okay, thank you, Linda. Greetings from Mexico City. Okay, greetings from Amsterdam. Nice to have you here. I hope the people who suggested things on my YouTube poll or question really, and on Instagram are also here or will be here maybe at a later moment to what's it called? I know that Honey seconded, however you say that, the suggestion of me doing or demonstrating tarot readings on how I do those. That's funny. I know Linda from, well, yesterday. So they're really nice to see you here. Yeah. I hope that the people who suggested things or agreed with that particular suggestion are here. I can, of course, try to answer other questions. That's always fun. Just questions are very welcome so that I have something to talk about in these lives. And this is just a moment for me also to just relax a little bit and talk to you, because it doesn't often happen for me that I can talk to people about tarot and stuff like that, and then that they know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So you will hear some noises. That's just my boyfriend coming home and my dog being really excited about that. But Linda, we go way back. Yes, exactly. James Feeney said that all tower moments deserve a beer. Yes, they do. They certainly do. Okay. We also had some other suggestions. It said, hey, Anna, how about the use and meaning of color in tarot? I just wanted to go through really, really quickly, not in depth at all, about, these questions, because yes, it's very important, the color. Of course, there's a lot of artistic liberties that are being taken now, and I also drew a few tarot cards. I haven't finished that deck at all, but I definitely just chose the colors that I liked, aesthetically. But of course, in the mostly traditional older decks, the coloration is very much, is symbolism and has a lot of meaning. But I really like, and I'm not done exploring that at all, finding the correspondences between the colors that were used in certain cards and the Kabbalistic tree of life, because that, brings this whole other understanding of color and what it means and the paths. And so there's, like, I don't know, a lifetime of things we can talk about regarding color in something as symbolic and meaningful as the tarot. So hello, Place of Stillness. What's your name again? Oh, yeah, you just messaged me that you did a VR on my video. That's great. And I'm going to check it out, but you're here now, so you know that I couldn't check it out now because I was planning a live, and I planned it and everything. I hope you're all proud of me. It's not exactly on a whim like all the other times, but I'm still wildly unprepared. So there's that. That's a reoccurring theme, I think, when it comes to live chats. It's strange. It's a little bit, it's exciting, but it's also a little bit scary because, I mean, there's that pressure, right? To, especially the suggestion that was made for this one, do a tarot reading. It's kind of like, well, I know that I can do it, but it's live and there's a screen, and it's very different from face to face in person, where you actually have an interaction, whether the client is or person is reacting or not. There is just that, no worries, no hurry. That's great. Okay, Manuela. Nice. Yeah, so okay, so Clara said the bad reputation and portrait of the swords. Yeah. I may do a video on that, because there's also something else that reminds me when it comes to that. It's that I think we all, most of us agree that swords are air, or correspond to the element of air. If you work with the elements, that's not even a given, but it works really well for me. It makes me understand what I'm talking about, what the tarot is talking about even more. And wands are fire, but I discovered, I mean, a while ago, but I didn't know that for the longest time, that there are also older decks who actually see swords as water, the element of water, and cups are air. And that just, how are cups air? But, moving away from the fact that, of course, cups have to be water, taking that idea and running with it, it does bring another, I don't know, another view, another depth on the sword suit, especially I would say in the Rider-Waite-Smith, because I know I'm deriving a little bit. It's not really about, oh, this is actually the card I needed for this explanation, what I thought of, but I know it's not exactly answering the question. It's something else, but it just came to mind. When I read with the Rider-Waite-Smith for clients, I always said that swords have, well, always, often said that swords had a really bad reputation. That's true. But it's not necessary, because it's just about the mind. And that just means that we can, be really mean to ourselves and talk to ourselves in our own minds, really, being actually mean the way that we wouldn't be mean to other people. So why do we treat ourselves this way? That whole thing that I know you all can relate to. But I also said, just look at the imagery in the Rider-Waite-Smith, in particular. There is always so much water in the suit of swords. I'd say in almost any card of the swords, there's a lot of water as well. So there's that head and heart, a connection that you cannot actually break. So the deck that I have in mind, I forgot the name, that when I what's the word? When I learned that there were decks out there who had swords as water and cups as air, actually was a Rider-Waite-Smith clone. And it made perfect sense. The only thing that they changed is that the Queen of Cups was looking at her cup, and there was a little butterfly, the symbol of air, next to it in the sky. And then with swords, they didn't have to change anything because there's already so much water in there. So it's just, a little rant there, and maybe that's interesting to explore a little further. Hey, Creative Coffee, I like your name. Hermit and High Priestess. Is that two people or just one? Hello, welcome. We appreciate you being here. Thank you. Yes. You're telling me to not put so much pressure on on these chats. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. But I do have the feeling, I just start talking and talking and talking, and then, well, the discussion's happening here, right? In the chat, for me at least. What else? So yeah, the bad reputation and portrait of the swords. I know that many of the swords cards are considered more negative energies, but actually it's also kind of a good thing in a way, because we have to have negative cards in the tarot because we also have positive cards. You know what I mean? Of course, every single card has these different layers, and I will probably never stop saying that. There are no positive cards, there are no negative cards. Every card has both. But it's just a different side of the energy that it comes more, to the forefront. I think that's good. When I read for clients, for instance, or even for myself, actually, some clients, they know a little bit about the tarot, and I go, okay, so you pulled 3 cards. I often start with 3, and I say 2 of them are the suit of swords, and they kind of go like, oh, okay. But that's a good thing also, because it's also a warning about what we're talking about, where we're going, and they already have that inner dialogue going like, I know what you mean, and this fits, even though it's not the positive, bright message that I wanted to hear, but it actually fits. You know what I mean? So that it's just balance, really, I think. So the bad reputation, yes, has a bad reputation, but I will always read the swords as that, but also it's just the mind. So it's not necessarily negative. It's also about the ideas that you have. It's about the plans you make. It's about even your memories. I sometimes bring in those as well, Hello, handcrafting tarot. Hermit and High Priestess is saying, just one person. Okay, welcome. I purchased the Thoth deck from you in Canada. Okay. Did you change your channel name? Because I think I would have remembered you. I don't know. Are you enjoying that deck? Because I remember it was a gorgeous deck. It's just, I'm a snob. And I said that to Linda today when we were chatting on Instagram. I'm a snob when it comes to tarot decks. I even read for clients with a vintage, I will not give it away fully because that video is up tomorrow, a vintage Greenie Thoth deck. And I mean, I know not everyone would do that, but I just cannot help myself. That is the version that I like. You know what I mean? Or actually rather that I love. And it's a treat for myself as well. It's an expensive deck, out of print, rare, and all that stuff. But it's just it has that extra touch, that extra magic that I just love to have in front of me all day and work with. Why would I work with an ugly version of that deck? I'm not saying your deck is ugly. Your deck's actually quite beautiful, but the US Games version, I kind of like, I'm still not convinced actually that that's the one that I should work with. I really, I know now. My conclusion is actually no. I like the vintage one, the vintage one. So, okay. Well, without darkness, there is no light. Exactly. I am enjoying the deck. Thank you so much. Yes, that's good. Good. Because that deck actually is very, what's the word? Well, at least the colors are very true, I believe. Sharp. I wanted to say that the artwork is very sharp, much sharper actually than on one of those vintage greenies. And the colors, of course, is much better. Or better, truer. A truer. How does that word work? So, does everyone have a drink? Because I have all the options, actually. I have some mint tea right here. But I also took out a beer in case I wanted to drink that. But well, maybe relax with some tea first. Maddie West said, hope I'm back from work by that time. Looking forward to this regardless of what you discussed. That's so sweet. Thank you for letting me know. Oh, I didn't say who said what. It's in the YouTube question. Okay, so Alex on Instagram said, using reversals in the Marseille deck, for example. That's also a good one. But I can answer that a little bit, at least from my perspective, because it's not really a technical thing for me, or not. It just came from experience, really. No matter what deck I work with, if I use reversals with that deck, it will always mean a similar thing. Of course, there's the aspect of what a card looks like, which direction it faces, and then the intuition coming up that plays a very important role in the interpretation of the reading. But actually, reversals, I use that in Marseille often, and in Rider-Waite-Smith also often, but it no matter what system I use, if I use reversals, it means the same thing for me. It's just that energy is some sort of blocked. So that can be as dramatic as fear, or as, light and no worries, as maybe you're just not informed enough. You know what I mean? So it's just always is the same kind of thing, and it doesn't mean the exact opposite. Wait, this is not a Marseille, but it's kind of pippish, this card, actually, right? This just means that, well, maybe you can focus a little bit more on patting yourself on the back. Is that the English saying? You know what I mean? Like, make the important moments count. That just means release this energy, release the block, and make this your focal point. So actually, it's really quite similar as just this card upright in advice form, but it just means look at it and work with it. And then, one card alone doesn't do justice on what a reversal can do, in my opinion. It's really still in combining with the rest of the cards that are on the table, and what the client says and what you feel if you read for yourself, or doesn't really matter. But I hope that was a little bit clear. It's really my own interpretation of what that means. I figured it out for myself and I stuck to it. I think that is the most important thing. And I do allow intuition. I do allow, these things to play a part in the interpretation of the reading. But it's just, yeah, that didn't really come from a book, I'd say, because it's very hard to understand. Yeah, it's really a thing that you have to, in my opinion at least, that you have to study for yourself and write down, so that you kind of make your own book. You kind of make your own rules regarding that. And when you're convinced that that is the way to go, that makes sense, that actually works, stick with it, stick to it. Yeah. Hermit and High Priestess is saying, do you have a favorite suit when it comes to tarot? One that really resonates with you personally? Wow, that is such a good question. Well, it's very hard, okay? Because I feel that tarot is so whole, that it's so balanced, and me picking a favorite would mean that I am not balanced, if you know what I mean. But funnily enough, the suit that came to mind first when I read that question out loud was actually the suit of Earth, the suit of Pentacles, the suit of coins or discs, or however you like to call them, which is extra funny, I'd say, because that is often the suit that is least liked. I don't know why. I think it's Rider-Waite-Smith readers Could that dog stop barking? That would be great. No, it's fine. It's a little doggy. Sweet. But you may have noticed that my dog in my own home is not giving a peep. It's very silent, so very good girl. I don't know why this suit is not liked very much. I have a feeling that, cups are so obvious, are so liked. So that would basically be, I don't know, just a different analogy or something. Just an example, a band, and then the suit of cups would be the singer, the one that you see all the time in front or something like that. That's my favorite. And then that would be cups. But then people are like, no, I'm a little bit more quirky than that. And I go for, I don't know, the guitar player or something. And then that would be wands because it's very passionate. I'm just saying something. But then swords would be the people who are either an air sign like me, Libra, or they're a little bit on that edgier side, you'd say. And then pentacles is kind of like, the last one, but still very important, very, very valuable. Is that a weird comparison to make? But that's kind of how I felt with this really interesting question. I'm also wondering now, though, what is your favorite suit then? And please, everyone who feels called to answer this, please do, because it's just fun to know, right? When it comes to favorite major arcana, I know right off the bat that is the moon for me. That has always been the moon. I mean, yeah, this took time to make. Yeah, I really fell in love with that card. Of course, there are other cards. You start having a relationship with every card, so that is just, it changes after a while, but there is just some love and understanding kind of relationship that you cannot change or top or something. So using reversals in the Marseille deck, yeah. So Hani said I was backing the reading idea that someone left on YouTube. That would be interesting. So I will start doing that soon because I just keep talking and talking and talking. And le rapport à son corps mis en relation avec le tarot. Yeah. From Nana Malkovich, that is an interesting name. She's saying the connection between your body in relation with the tarot. That is definitely something that I wanted to make a video about, but then figured, I don't know, it's so personal. It's something you feel, but yeah, food for thought. Great. And then my boyfriend also left a comment, but I erased that one. I erased that suggestion because it was, yeah, just a private joke. Very cute. Honey is saying, I'm a Scorpio and that just draws me to cups. And I'm also a hopeless romantic, so there's that also. Absolutely. I mean, if I were to pick the best card or something like that, I can't really explain it, in the minor arcana, that would be the Six of Cups. Just the Rider-Waite-Smith depiction. I see in there an old house, an old family house, beautiful times really, and then an older brother, an older brother giving a flower to his little sister, and that is so, I don't know, that's what I see in there. That is the sweetest card to me. And now that I work a lot with Thoth, because I switched to that for clients, not necessarily because of the system, but rather because I wanted a more abstract deck that didn't have only white people in it. So much more cosmic deck, and I feel, I was kind of like ready for that. The Six of Cups is described, is that a word? Described as the best card that you can have in the minor arcana or something like that, because everything is super aligned, everything is whole, everything is centered. And yeah, that is something that, I don't know, makes sense. Hopeless romantic. So yeah, I really love that. I think it's so sweet. Um, I think I am too, actually, in a way. Hopeless positive with nihilistic traits, funnily enough. Sorry about that slurp. No, that's a great comparison. As a Virgo, I enjoy Pentacles, but those cards to me hold more accountability, so to speak. Yes, I love that. You must work hard in order to get the results. That's a really good one. Absolutely. Because it's about going deep into the earth, finding the roots, finding where everything comes from. And then, yeah, I mean, I always translate, hi, doggy. I always translate the work aspect, or actually, rather, I was going to say the coins aspect, as in wealth, to happiness, to that kind of, I feel rich. I feel, because I don't do, well, let's say because I focus on self-development with the tarot readings, and just the getting some insights on the energies and what you can do and all that stuff and what to focus on. So I prefer to go for that personal touch rather than whenever there's pentacles, we're talking about work, you know what I mean? But I love that work, it sounds like the way that you interpret it is also very much about inner work, just all sorts of work. It's not just about a job. And if it is, then it has value, it has meaning to you, it's that purpose. So there is some drive in there as well. Hold more accountability, I kind of like that word. Yes. Oh, I know I asked your name already, also in another chat. Sorry. Yeah, Manuela is saying, I usually like the depictions of the sword suit, and the moon is my favorite major too. It's quite special, isn't it? And as a child, I was one of those kids who loved the moon. People cannot explain that. Most kids love the moon. Discs are my favorite. I love the grounding energy. Well, here we go. It's a lot of, pentacle loving people here coming together. I am Pisces. Yes, grounding for sure. Absolutely. Which is what I will have to do before starting a demonstration of a reading, if that is still something you want to see. I just arrived. Greetings. Hi, Michael. How are you? Watching from the beginning. Yes, go ahead. Although I do have a question for you. Will you, by any chance, start that channel that you wanted to start? Because I was kind of like, you're ready if you want to, it's everyone's first few videos is going to be cringy. But still, if you know what you're talking about, if you have the content that you want to share, please go ahead. It's a fun little community we have on this side of YouTube. Hi, Chow. So, hey, she is licking her paw, and I think the wound won't close if she keeps it so wet all the time. Ga maar slapen, goed zo. Yes, the doggy speaks Dutch. I'm a fire sign, but in life, I'm more of a swords person. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm an air sign, and I get that. But also, it's just about what a balance is. What a Libra is a balance. So it much more, to me at least, manifests itself, or shows itself in the way of, I always seem to understand both sides or something like that. Or I will hardly ever, because I'm trying to not say never anymore. Never say never. Hardly ever will judge a situation or someone on solely one source of information, if you know what I mean. I will always try to, find that balance. I cannot help it, but that's what I mean. It's not just that air swords energy. I started learning the elements at a really young age and without the tarot. So actually, before tarot, I never saw air in that sense. I never saw air in that negative or harsh or cutting sense. I always saw it as airy, dreamy, because that is absolutely what I was as a child. So much imagination and always, head in the clouds, until I was pulled down to earth to become a dancer and follow my passion and all that. And now I'm here and yeah, doing really good, I must say. And I'm glad that you're all here. That makes it even better. So yeah, that whole thing of signs, and I have to research it, and I keep saying that, but it's interesting. Yeah. So fire sign, air sign, water, whatever, it can manifest in different ways, I think. I generally am drawn to swords too, but sometimes certain decks feel like they are full of other suits energy. Yes, like some feel like a cups deck or a coins pentacles deck. Absolutely. Well, like Thoth, for instance, I still feel has a lot of fire because it's all about that willpower. And I relate that to fire. That's interesting though, because I have these two decks here that I both consider, at least partly my favorites. And this one I feel is earth, but has a lot of air as well. So that's interesting because those are opposing elements, you could say. I mean, very high and very grounded. And then this one, the Triomphe de la Luna Paradoxical by Patrick Valenza, which I made a whole video about. This is my #1 favorite deck. A lot of people did VRs on that. It was a lot of fun. I feel that this one has an equal amount of water as it does fire, actually. So there again, we have the other two elements together. That makes 4, right? But again, water and fire. So what's that about? Is that just me projecting my idea of what a deck is? Because, well, I don't know. I do have a feeling that just art style and coloration has a lot to do with that. It's not just about the kind of messages that you get, right? Let's be honest. It's just about also what a deck looks like, because that is just, I mean, the tarot is visual, so there's really no way around that, in my opinion. But yeah, that's another question. That's another conversation, I think. I just keep going off in these crazy thoughts. You guys are good. Inner wealth, the type that cannot be taken away from you. Absolutely, I love that. I keep being drawn to temperance in the majors. Well, me too at this moment. James Feeney made a video recently about the art of temperance, and I really like that. Hey, Oets, kan het zachter? That would be my boyfriend. He's laughing. I love the hermit from the majors. Yes, the hermit. Oh, but I am such a hermit, and I'm changing that. I'm moving to the wheel of fortune, my darlings. To me, the pentacles are also about the body. Absolutely. Our physical existence, I guess, as a dancer, that might feel a bit more home ground than for many others. That is such a good point to that. I didn't even think of that. Yes, pentacles are, earth, the body. Yeah, I guess. It's hard, though, to make videos about, relating the body to a tarot reading or tarot card. I tried. I did 2 anatomy type videos. Well, lots of fun. I thought nobody would care, but people were, really enjoying that. So I will try to make more, but it's kind of, I don't know. There's only so much I can say about it, I feel, but so many ideas going through my head. Maybe I will have to rewatch this live afterwards because, like I said, you guys are good. That's beautiful that dancing grounds you. I love hearing the different things that ground different people. Thanks for sharing. Yes. Sorry for my confusing language. I am not a dancer, though I like to dance. I was rather reflecting on the pentacle suit more generally and as a dancer. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's just, it's just a dancer is so connected to every little part in the body. Yeah, there's that connection. There's that awareness mostly that is helpful also. Yeah. Certainly yoga would be very grounding for me, but that's a detour. Well, yoga I think is great. Oh, I guess already. Yeah, okay. Yeah. It is creating interesting conversation, so we'll let it flow. Absolutely. Hmm. So, while I take a little moment, please tell me, do you just want me to demonstrate how I do a reading at the shop? An open reading, for instance, for someone who doesn't have a question ready? Or do you want me to answer some questions? Because I can do that. Happy Lamas, by the way, Lunasa. That's a harvest moment and a full moon. I mean, I'm loving this, so while I do that, I will just let the chat go for a bit and see if anyone feels like answering that, or just let me do my thing, really. Okay, so you are interested in seeing a tarot card demonstration. So like as I said, do you want to see what I would typically do at the shop for someone that I never met, and it's really only 15-20 minutes? Those are the rules of the shop. They make those types of restrictions so that a lot of people can have readings, short readings that day. And it's mostly like just an interest that people have. They kind of see that, me sitting at that table or something like that, or see the little card that says tarot readings here today. And they just sit down and then they kind of say like, well, I don't have a question ready. And I'm just like, well, no worries. I'm used to that because it's that surprise element, A lot of people don't know that they get a reading that day, that they just spontaneously decide to get one. An open reading demo would be great, a general reading, because I feel a lot of people ask this when they don't know what to ask. Absolutely. Yeah. So I will have to go the monologue route, because I usually really appreciate, since it's face-to-face, might as well, have an interaction with the person in front of you. I usually go the route of, I interpret something and then I ask, how does this apply to you? And then we get a little bit deeper. It's like going through the layers, until we find something that completely fits. And there's something to unpack there. There's a lesson there. I really like doing that. It's also just a conversation with someone, meeting people, listening to what they have to say. I just really love that time there. Although sometimes it's a client who just, and that's fine too. That's really okay. They have their phone ready and say, can I please, what's it called? Record this. And I say, of course, no problem. Go ahead. And then they say, well, not always, but some people say, I'd rather just listen. So there I go. I'm off, It's kind of like, okay, that's absolutely fine. I just hope that, you will be able to have that same type of unpacking. But then it's really all just the cards and me and the person listening. It's not that, interaction with the cards in between kind of thing. It's just different, but it's good as well. Yeah, it can be vague, right? But, let me try. I'm using the Thoth just because that is the deck that I've been using for clients, as I said. But disclaimer, in case you just came in or haven't seen those videos where I explain it, I have one tarot system. And that means that, for all the Thoth enthusiasts out there, I love this deck, but that doesn't mean that I'm a, what's the word? Thelemite? That doesn't mean that I follow everything that Crowley says. That doesn't mean that I've read every Golden Dawn book. That doesn't mean that I believe in, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So it's really just how I see the tarot and try to make this whole energy of every single card of this 78 card decks. Just got in from work. Hi, Maddie. Oh, I'm so glad that you made it. I read your comment out loud earlier saying, when you said, I hope I'll be home in time. And you are. Hope you can relax a little bit because I'm just about to do this this reading as I would, an open reading in the shop, really. Yes, Place of Stillness has very interesting views and insights. I really like what you're making. I'm going to try to concentrate a little bit. This is the first time I think I'm doing this live, so it's already hard, as many of you know who have a channel, to do this with a camera running. But then live, it adds the stakes. The stakes are higher. Yes, so welcome. You're welcome, I said. But yes, really interesting. Okay, so what I do is I fan out the cards. So I'm doing that right here. Oh, you can actually see that. That's great. And then I ask them to pick 3 cards that feel right at this moment. So I'm doing that now. Oh, well, this might just be a reading for me, but I will try to keep that perspective of I'm reading for someone else right now. Because it's really interesting. We talked about the suit of Earth for so long. Look at what I got. The Prince of Discs, which is Pentacles, coins, discs. The Knight of Discs and the Six of Discs. That is something. Hi, Lennon. It's so great to see you. So, hope you're okay with me not giving away every secret of the trade that I've, not perfected, that I am doing, simply. But I will just do the reading, yeah? So you see already with the Thoth, no reversals. That's just a new thing, but that doesn't take away the fact that some cards are in shadow and others, you know what I mean? So it is, hello, Earth energy, absolutely. So it is, still balanced, and I really like that word layered, the layered, the layers of the cards. So the Prince of Discs is the airy part of Earth. Look, to me, this energy, and by the way, court cards, I sometimes say they can mean other people, but still the reading is for the person sitting in front of me, across from me, on the table, across, how do you say that? In front of me, yeah. And I say, so the reading is for you. So even the court cards, even though some people say they can mean other people, maybe sometimes that is what it is, but still the main energy would be it's you. Yeah. Yeah. So the Prince of Disc is all about that. I see that as taking care of oneself, really, in the sense of, that is my one flaw. I do one flaw. my one flaw regarding to this card. I always forget this word, provide. Yeah. Um, Provide is in the sense of providing. I kind of see this as partly a father energy, and heart, help. Sorry, I don't want you to hear licking all the time. So that's my dog licking her paw, in case you just came in. Very good doggy. Sometimes there are these distractions during a reading, so this is quite realistic still. And it's just about taking care of oneself in the sense of providing. I really see, and I immediately link it to the next card in the middle, which is, the one in the middle, the one with the main purpose, the main advice here is there has to be something that is valuable to you, valuable enough to you to make you move and work and go. As in, actually, this is the slowest moving suit, yeah, the slowest moving element, because it's all about Earth, because it's all about not having a house but a home. It's about the connections that you have with the place where you are, or with your body, actually, really, right? It doesn't really matter where you are, it's rather how you feel wherever you are. And that home is really within you. So that feeling of I can be whoever I truly am, that core is very important. And this is so much, there's so much purpose in this card. It's all about, well, it is that workhorse, right? So it's steady but slow, or I should rather say it's not very fast, but it's very steady and very reliable. So it's very important to focus on, I have to be the reliable source here, because in this position, in this card, I kind of feel that there's that lack of this. It's that ill-dignified kind of thing, is that shadow kind of thing. It's that, as if maybe in a sense, but I don't do that with this deck. So you have to have, combining those two, you have to have um, that sense of responsibility, that sense of I am taking control, and I have to be practical in a way in order to make this, these steps or this project or whatever, the coming period, if you don't know what you want yet, make it successful. That's actually funny that I used that word, because the next card is titled Success. So, as if you have seen my elemental spread using the Thoth, I explained that the way that I interpret these titles is this card doesn't necessarily mean success. Thou shalt be successful. Okay, it means understanding success. So here I go again. Actually, we already talked about this a little bit. So this is very, for this moment, this earth energy, right? Especially this card is so much about that centering, about knowing where the energy comes from, the pure intentions. Absolutely. It has to have that will to move, that power, that is just so understanding of it's something very valuable, and you are what's the word, you are following that feeling of this is where the success is. It's in the journey, first of all, but it's also I am following that very important, valuable um, um, will, actually, that wish, and I will make it happen. It's not somewhere out there in the ether. It's really up to you. It's really up to taking care of yourself and taking yourself seriously and relying upon yourself. So very grounding, so very practical, um, but so very valuable, isn't it? This is where we are, after all. We are in this earthly body, and we have to do with the time we have here. So how do you want to spend your time, right? Let's go towards that success. And then I really like to add success. What does that mean to you? Okay, because it can be really scary as well. I see success in the pentacles, in the earth, in the discs, in the coins, as I said, very much in the riches of the soul. Okay? It's about your inner work. It's about your inner happiness. It's about what makes you feel rich, as I said. So I could, of course, and I would add that if a client is sitting in front of me, asking for that monologue that I'm doing now, I would add this could very much be about work. Very simple. But in an open reading especially, I always do this. It is much more. You can, stretch that or something to a broader. You can interpret this in a broader sense, because there's not necessarily a direction in a question, because there's no question. It's just, and no conversation either, as I explained. So it's just me interpreting and connecting these cards together. So what I see even more in this is just these energies being very perfectly together. It's so much about the push and pull energies, because it's about what energy you give out into the world and what energies you get back. And then, whatever you get back, it goes through you, and you can filter that and bring it out again. And it's not exactly the law of attraction, because I think that is quite flawed, to be honest. I think it would be too unfair if that would be completely true. Just think about it. But there is truth in that still. There is still truth in, I want to understand what it means for me to have that success. So this is, we are talking a little bit about where that energy brings you, like that. Plus, there is that movement. He is looking this way, and this is where it brings you. But it's also just advice, because it is a step in the right direction. It is, saying listen to your body. It is saying listen to your gut. Listen to that center, that core. Maybe, I'm not checking the chat yet, I would say, hey, we still have some time. Let's pick another card to see what's okay. Here we go. Another element. That's nice. And it's, I say, opposing elements. Element of air, but then it's the Knight of Swords. That is nice, because I would put them like that or like that, depending on, what I think fits, or what I explain to the client, what are we doing in this spread that I'm using, or going with the gut. That's also fine, just to see, as I said, well, we still have time, so take 3 more cards, 2 more cards, 4 more cards, just one. You know, it's just where the reading goes. This I would see in my mind, I didn't say that out loud, as a focus point for now. And this is very much, I see that as, well, plan in the sense of anything is possible. And it's not about being aggressive, as in, I have to make this happen, absolutely, because this is, you know, the fiery part of air, but assertiveness. And there is a huge difference between those two, right? It's just explore the possibilities, or I would even say visualize. That's just intuition at this point. But looking at these cards together, yeah, with the wings, you know, I don't know if everyone had noticed that, but it says north, south, east, and west in these wings. So that is, you know, suggesting to me, at least at this moment, see what the possibilities are, see what you like, see what you want, see in what direction you want to move, but also just try it out. Try it out in the sense of, yeah, so actually to not have these limited thoughts. So that would be an interesting, you know, adding that to the very grounding earthly energy reading that I just did. I'm stopping here, at least, you know, before I didn't look at the chat yet. I think only one person said something, but that is one example of what I would say of how I give advice of, yes, it may be a little bit, you know, unfocused, since this is the most unfocused example that I can give, because no question, open reading, yeah, plus the person that I've imagined sitting in front of me wants me to go full monologue, so will not share anything. And there are these clients out there, right? So at the end, I will just say, this is it, you know, do you feel something that this is already in the... Of course, at this point, I said a million things within 15, 20 minutes, and the person is kind of like, because they didn't do the conversation part of the reading, you know? But that's fine, that's their choice. And they click the little button, stop recording, and go, thank you very much, that was great, I will listen to it again at home. So that's it. So in those cases, I don't really know, but it's fun nonetheless. Ha! Secrets of the trade are another video. That was the comment that was that came while I was doing that reading. No. I shared them. I shared them right here. It's just that to, you know, exactly say what goes through my mind is such a hassle, and I do most of my readings in the shop in Dutch because, you know, most people do speak Dutch. So kidding. Yeah. No, I know. But it would be hard to explain, and it would also kind of be, I don't know. I like I said, I like the word layered, so that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm doing, and that also is very much represented in the spread that I use. It's just 3 cards that makes a good, you know, base, a good sentence, and from there on I build up or down or sideways or in a diagonal even sometimes. You know, either I follow the question, or I follow my gut, or I follow the spread that I use here all the time. And you know, I know many readers who read for clients, they have different spreads for different questions. For instance, they have a love spread or a work spread. To me, I don't know. It's already a challenge. It's already a big challenge to actually interpret the cards, because they will never, hardly ever, come up exactly like this ever again. You know what I mean? So you have to make those connections right then and there. That is the great puzzle that I like to solve for the people in front of me. That's how I see it, kind of. What was I going to say? But so that's what I mean, like using the same spread, which is not exactly what I'm doing after all, but if I were to use the same spread over and over and over and over and over again, it wouldn't matter, because I feel that spread, as I said, is very balanced, is very, yeah, it kind of opens up some things right in itself. And to have to, you know, know your spreads, or maybe use the little book that you have to kind of like, just know, I want to know which position, what position means what, you know what I mean, what it means, so I don't have to like think on that. I just want to interpret the card. I don't want to be bothered by what does that position stand for, what does it mean, you know what I mean? So I hope I explained that well. But if there's a question, and that happens a lot as well, that I feel does not fit this 3 cards beginning spread, opening kind of spread, then I just kind of take a little moment and write things down in my little notebook, because I do that, because I get lost in the cards sometimes, and I have to go back to those little keywords that I wrote down, what the person wants to ask, what the person talked about. So I know, you know, I revert back to, what are we actually talking about? What am I actually trying to answer here, or guide, you know, along? And so that's very helpful. That's a tip. And I take a little moment and I just make a little spread really quickly right then and there. If it's an option kind of thing, I think, okay, so the questions are fairly easy. Then I say, and there are 2 options. I would, for instance, say, okay, so 3 cards for that option and 3 cards for that. And there is already, I would divide that in, for instance, what you can expect kind of energy, but of course very much focus on what you can do, because I will not, you know, that's just my thing. I like to make the clients leave the reading and then get to work. I don't want to give the answers, because I don't think that that's very fair. I want to motivate, kind of thing. Or if it's a complex question and there are 4 options, then maybe I would first start with 1 card for each option, and then, you know, build on that. So lots of options, but it's just, like I said, it's a puzzle. Does anyone else feel like that? It's reading tarot for someone else. Yeah, it's just solving a little puzzle that they've created in front of me. When I read for myself, it's of course the same thing, but there's less that performing aspect, because there's no time limit. Or if there is, then I can just, you know, drop it and come back to it later on. Or, you know what I mean? It's not something that someone else paid for, and they expect something. So yeah, I just really want to do a good job, and I think that this so far is really the way to go. As I explained in my VR on Becca's video, My Tarot Growth, I explained that I don't make new spreads right now, because I feel that I have a good thing going on with my cards. There's that connection, there's that relationship, and that is much more helpful to me now than to be constantly making new spreads. It's fun to make spreads. I love making spreads. I love going in that, you know, that creative space that actually already kind of somehow makes you explore the questions. But yeah, at this point, it's good like this. I think it's great that you let people record the reading. It's hard to remember and process all that's coming in a short time. Yes, absolutely. I also let people, you know, take photos of the cards that they got. Why not, right? Linda, yeah, I wish I recorded the reading from yesterday, but the underlying feeling is still here there, so that doesn't need a recording. Okay, yeah, exactly. That's also good. I mean, it's just personal preference, right? Because I say a lot of things, or a lot of things come up. But it's about that filter. It's about what sticks. It's about the message, really. So sometimes it's also okay if you feel like you don't need to take a picture of the photo of the cards. You don't need to record it. You don't need to write things down. It's just let it sink in, kind of thing. That's also valuable. It's just what you need in the moment. Everything is so, you know, it's random. And I see the tarot, we shuffle the cards and they always come up differently. I see that as a kind of sacred randomness, but it's synchronicity, but it's random, right? So use that puzzle and try to solve it, kind of thing. What is the most frequent question asked by clients? What readings do you like to give the most? I kind of enjoy the open readings, but then I do enjoy also talking to the people. So I do enjoy that interaction, just, starting off. Sometimes I already talked for 3 minutes straight. Sometimes I only said 3 sentences. But when I feel, okay, at this very point, I need to ask this person something, or, check with them or something like that to see how they feel about what I just said, what has come up so far, then I get to talk to them. And it's just about meeting people and, having that interaction, that conversation is most of the time, it's really very nice. So I like the open readings in that short amount of time when I'm talking about, reading in the store, because that is, after all, at this point at least, what I'm doing most. So open readings, but I like the conversation type. Monologue is also fine, but it kind of gets a little bit boring sometimes, you know what I mean? And I really I do my best. So the other question was, what is the question you get mostly? Well, actually, I mostly get, I don't have a question. But if they ask a question, it would be, it depends on the days. It's always, the standard kind of things, but we know they are standard. We know everyone deals with those types of questions, but they are very important. So yes, it is about relationship or love. So yes, it is about work. So what else is there? My mind just went blank. You know what I mean? Is just those very, very standard, those things that everyone goes through, but they're important. We recognize them. And so, why not look at them through the cards? Yeah, it's just a very standard answer to your question, actually, because I think every tarot reader would answer in this way, I think. It's always those questions. Where am I? Anna, to continue on that questions, are there topics you refuse to read about? Well, oh yeah, you remind me of the third option. So we have love, relationships, work, and health. I have written down somewhere on my Facebook page that I do not do health readings. Yet, I kind of have found a way to help someone, but by doing a million disclaimers. And if they agree, then we proceed, right? Because I'm not a doctor, neither are the cards. I'm not going to give health advice, okay? So, hope I will be able to explain this. I would go in the sense of, what did I do the last time? I had two girls and they had these similar questions regarding health as well. And I went fully in the sense of, whatever you're going through right now, this is, kind of a part of the energy that you can expect on how it will make you feel, or how it will, what type of energy you will go through. But then immediately after that, grabbing the chance to say, this is a focus point that is good for you. But actually, I'm not explaining this well at all. I hope you get what I mean. Actually, I kind of made sure to beforehand say, this is not exactly about your health. This is more about your state of being, kind of thing. So in that sense, I separate the health part from the state of being part. Does anyone understand what I just said? So if someone said, no, I have a pain in my shoulder and I absolutely have to know if it's a cancer or not, absolutely not. Okay. I will still read for that person about something else. But I also had a client at a fair who sat down, and he was like, he was a, probably very nice person, but he was like, okay, so a tarot reader, great. Tell me about what my year will be like. And I said, well, yeah, of course. So the cards are used for that, and I will read for you if you accept that I will also bring in that advice, because otherwise, if I can't believe it, you know what I mean? It has to be thought about. It has to be deliberate. It has to be what I feel also, because I'm the reader, right? This is my space, kind of thing. It has to be something that I agree with. It has to be something that I do, that I've also explored. So we talked about that a little bit. We quickly actually came to the conclusion that that was not at all what he wanted. He really, really just wanted me to tell him exactly, almost pinpointing how his year was going to be, or something like that. It's been a while, and I said, yeah, well, if that's what you want, you'd probably be better off going to, one of those. I was gonna say colleagues, but I don't know them. But I kind of see them as colleagues, right? Just other tarot readings at the fairs, and ask them the same question and see what they say. But it's just that little yet very clear line of how far I'm willing to go regarding those types of questions. And it's fine if you have those very only about future questions, but then you obviously won't like what I have to say, how I interpret the cards. There's always advice in there. Yeah, it's you know what I mean? It has to make sense. I have to believe it. I have to, because otherwise, it's not fake. It's not a performance. I believe in this shit, right? And I believe in it because I've researched it, and because I've experimented with it, because I went, I tried out these different things, and now they fit. They actually make sense, not only in my body, not only in my heart, not only in my belief, but also in my mind, but also in my, how I see life, all of that. So it is very much packed in who I am. There's just no disregarding that. I hope I'm explaining this well. Simon says, I create a custom spread each time. Yeah, that's great. I use a notepad, not to write down the main issues, and create a spread from that. Okay, yeah. So that's very similar, right? That's great. That's great. I have a limited, I don't know about you, but I have a limited time, at least at the shop, as I said, 15, 20 minutes. So I really am so glad to have found this starting spread so that we can just start and have fun with that and see what comes up and then see if there's still time to build up on that. And if not, if it's just 3 cards, then that's fine too. Then that's all, all the reading will be, because it's really just like finding that conclusion. We can do that. We can do that in that amount of time, I feel. Has it ever happened to you that you thought you were doing a psychological reading, co-creation reading, and the cards spoke bluntly predictive? I'm not sure. That would be especially reading for myself, right? Because as I said, especially lately, I'm mostly at the shop, and those are people who don't often come back. I do have repeat clients in that way, but it's not private. I mean, it is a private little corner in the shop at the end, but still there are people walking in the shop. You know what I mean? It's not like the type of quiet space where we only see each other and we can keep going for an hour and a half, which is also a lot of fun. It's not those types of clients I have mostly at this moment. So reading for myself, I don't really know. Did that happen to you? I'm really curious, because it's not just about which cards you got. It's mostly about how you interpreted the reading. So if you go back and you interpret it in another way, knowing now what you know, what you didn't know then, that also kind of changes the context. So sure, but not really. Does that make any sense? Wow, we've been on for an hour and 17 minutes, no trolls. So that's an accomplishment. And 16 people in, I'm so happy. Thank you guys for liking this chat, by the way. Yeah, that's so nice. And I really appreciate you being here. I don't mean that I want to leave. I can keep going for another half hour for sure, but I'm just saying keep the questions coming so we have something to talk about. It has when someone was asking about how to handle a pregnancy, and the result card was Ace of Swords, which was a result in nothing. How to handle a pregnancy in nothing. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking of something, but it may be too private, so it's not my place to discuss exactly what was said in a reading for someone. There was this thing that I was happy about to have seen in the cards, that I noticed it, kind of thing. It was about a pregnancy as well, or actually the wish for a pregnancy. And then there was one card that suggested something not what you wanted, but then there was also the Ace of Cups. And together, I wish I remember the other card, damn it. But together, it kind of meant talk to your partner. Because if you have the wish, it was probably swords, actually, communication. Actually, I'm not sure now, but it wasn't about the prediction of Ace of Cups. You will be pregnant and it shall be a girl or something like that, but it was something came up with those two, that energy between those two cards next to one another, that said, if there's a wish, then please open up the possibility, that kind of thing. Okay. It's just that moment when sometimes the cards say more than you want to tell the client and not direct them. I know that. And you know what? Sometimes I say it anyway, but I add, I don't want to direct you. But since, you're asking for that super clear answer, or you are super unsure about what to choose or which direction to go in, it's mostly the second one. I will add this because that might actually help you. But I kind of try to bring it in a way of, please, please, please make it your choice, right? And that is just also the way how I interpret the cards. I just, yeah. But interpreting the cards, you've seen me interpret 4 cards in the Thoth, and I didn't even go full. I don't know. There's more to that you could unpack there. Obviously, any reading could take a year, right? But it's just a message that it's just the way that I interpret the tarot. It's not, as I said, system-based necessarily. Yeah, that does sound like a tough spot. So Hani is saying, I once saw a clear divorce coming in a reading that wasn't about even on that topic. Yeah. Yeah, so that's, I would say, the right of, am I interpreting that word correctly? Moving away from the technical part of reading tarot, right? Because if there's a question about something, that is what the cards answer. And if you see something completely different in the cards, that is actually taking out the context, and something is becoming clear just through the cards. So you move away from the question, you move away from the context of the situation, and that's something that you either keep for yourself, right? Because that was not the question. That is not what the cards are saying, or that's not why they were pulled. But you could also add that in a form of a question. If I really cannot help myself, if it's really that strong, I would ask, how is your relationship? Just because there's something here as well. That's kind of how I solve it. Either I say nothing and I stick to, what I know kind of thing, or I start the conversation. Lennon, do you read for family, close friends? Sometimes a sister will ask me to read the cards, but I often feel too close to their situation. Yeah, so the family now definitely knows I do this. This is fine. It's a lot of fun. But it's I don't really know, Lennon. I wish I knew, because I do like reading for family and close friends. Close friends, actually, I'm a little bit more comfortable with, funnily enough. But family, maybe it's just, my personal family. We are quite close. But for instance, I do have an experience with someone in my family who wanted reading, had a question and everything, but then kind of made fun of it. So I'm like, honey, darling, what's that about? This is not a trick that I'm doing, okay? I mean, I can have fun with cards. You've all seen that. And I laughed myself silly, but but I do take this shit seriously. I do believe in it. And if you would only hear me, then you would also believe it because it's also scientific. It's not, it doesn't just come out of nowhere. It's you can research this shit. Read some Carl Jung. It's just I don't know. It's so that wasn't a great experience, and it's easier when you know someone to make the situation a little bit lighter in that sense. Maybe that was actually what the person was doing, trying to make the situation a little less serious, because maybe I touched upon something that the person didn't want to talk about or something. We are close, but tarot is quite private. Yeah, it wasn't great. Let's just say that. I mean, it's probably also easier to get advice or to be open to what someone is saying, no matter what age, but you don't know the person, and you'll probably, if you keep your distance, you won't ever have to see that person again. And here I was clearly quite a bit younger, of another generation, let's say, unpacking these things. And then that can be a little bit uncomfortable. I think it became uncomfortable. It wasn't uncomfortable for me because this is, a huge part of what I do. But it wasn't all that. It wasn't exactly a success. And that is just a situation that came to mind. There have been there have been enough positive experiences as well, but this can really easily happen, I feel. And those are the experiences that stick, because we are human beings and we like to keep those, in our heads. So, Lennon, did that happen to you as well, or is that how you feel about it as well? Because there's also that other aspect about reading for people you really know well. Which is actually something that Kellyanne Maddox talked about. And I was like, yes, exactly. You said it exactly right. I will not pretend to not know about your life. I read the cards, and in the reading, I will, say a couple times probably, I interpret this card this way because I know about that. And that's fine. I think that can even be helpful. But then, the cards are layered, have different sides, so you can also very easily go do both, because you do, as a reader, want to detach yourself a little bit from the situation and just read the cards, because that's what you do. But then, if you know about the person's life, incorporate that as well. I'm saying use both. So, Lennon, I'm actually quite curious. It happens, and in a way, we want to be there for it as well, I guess, helping people with information. Yeah, exactly. Life just ain't all about happy moments. Well, ain't that the truth? And I think majority of people who turn to tarot reader has a problem, sorrow, etc. Yeah, that's true. I do get, a fair amount of people who just come and sit and say, hey, I kind of liked your vibe, and there's not really a problem, but actually everything's going really good. So can you still read the cards? And I'm like, yeah, why not? That's great. Actually, it's also really good to do a reading when everything goes smoothly, because maybe there's something that you are ignoring, or something that you can focus on even more. I really like to motivate, that's the thing. Or just sometimes kind of go like, well, it's an affirmation. That's also possible. When everything fits so incredibly well, it's kind of like, I knew all of this. It was great to hear again, to see all of this come up through the cards. I mean, I don't know you, so that's the reaction that I would get. And they really like this affirmation of the universe kind of thing, saying, you're on the right track. Please keep going. And this is great. Keep going. So all of that. But yes, a lot there is an issue that needs to be addressed. And there is a choice to be made, something, some tumultuous period. Is that how you say it? But yeah, often it's something that is less fun. But I'm also here for that, right? I agree. Usually people are in tough situations. Yeah, but don't you also get maybe that's just when you're in the shop, really, because it's just oh, hello. It's just a curiosity. Is anyone else a reader at an esoteric shop or somewhere where they just sit for a couple of hours there and wait for people to come in, next to the appointments that you got that day? Because I feel that on YouTube, it's I watch a lot of American, I think, YouTube, video makers about tarot. And most of you, I feel, do your readings online. Because, I mean, that does make sense. The country is huge. And also it can be worldwide. And it's a very good convenience, right? I mean, especially in these times, but also usually. I feel that most of the spiritual businesses that I follow are doing Skype readings, not face-to-face. And for me, it's quite the other way around. Skype is much less of a thing. People really do enjoy the face-to-face appointments. I did a reading at the park the other day, on Thursday, actually. It was beautiful weather. My cards were all bent from sitting in the sun for an hour, but it's fine. They've straightened out. Yeah, Skype is really, or Skype, or those types of services, is really just a convenience if there's no other way, because face to face is just, it's nice, and I agree, it's nice. It is. So Lennon is talking about reading for friends and family. Well, the situation would be in every. Oh, okay. The situation would be in every phone call for weeks. Oh no, they keep stalking you. Then they say, hey, read the cards for me. Then they say, oh, well, you've been saying that for weeks. Yeah. You have to be ready for that, right? I read the cards for my mom. A couple of times. And I remember this one situation where she was talking about her job, her work, read the cards, it was a big spread because we talked for a long time. And then, okay, conclusion, great. She knows what to do. I think half a year later, she wanted me to read the cards again. And I was like, great, fun. Yeah, I like doing that. And it's fun. We have these conversations, guided by the cards. So that's interesting. I mean, we talk a lot. We have a great relationship. So, but then she asked the same question. And she said that I was so strict with her. She still says that to me to this day. You were so strict and so harsh, so no nonsense kind of thing. Like, what, you didn't work on this situation, how could you? And that I was, being this really harsh reader, harsh person. And I was like, I'm sorry, that wasn't that wasn't what I meant to do, obviously. But I was kind of surprised, obviously, that you asked the same question 6 months later. Like, didn't you do anything? So yeah, I will do that apparently. But I'm always afraid my reading will reflect my opinion, not the real message. Yeah. I have hello. I have a similar thing. It's not that I'm afraid of it, but I'm aware of it, and I think it's okay. It's the same thing as me knowing someone's life, right? So I feel that I'm really okay at reading the cards objectively. That is just a thing to figure out, as in, first step, I will just read the cards as I did now, as in, no question, no context. Person wants me to do a monologue. Okay, I'll deliver. Kind of like that. And then after that, because it's not only a message you give someone else, right? It's not only a reading you give someone else. When you interpret the cards, you do that out loud, of course, because they have to hear your thoughts. And so you're also at that very moment actually realizing what that all means. So you're also reading, the reading just comes and you are the one who's also hearing your own words, kind of thing. So that message comes across, and then that message is also interpreted by you at that very moment. So the next step would be, I see this and I think this, and if I got these cards, I would do this. And you know what I mean? I think it's, yes, there's an opinion, probably, but it's not all bad. It's also just you, because we cannot help it. I think we want to do good, and we are still human beings, right? Because if you wanted to, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work without human interaction. It wouldn't work without feelings. It wouldn't work without that soul. Because a card doesn't mean anything on its own. You have to interpret it, and book meaning is also an interpretation. So we are going into not understandable territory here with, with the Anna live chat, but you know what I mean. If the client or the friend or whatever, if you are afraid of giving your opinion, yes, I'd say try to keep it on the, not on the foreground. At least try to hold it in a little bit, but it will still seep through, or at least your view on the world, which is also an opinion, will either way seep through a little bit, right? Because it's you. Because otherwise the person could just have gone to one of those websites where you click a button and then some cards come up. There's your reading for the day. I mean, that's fun if you don't have a deck at home, but doesn't have the soul. Did you have situations when their reading turned out quite not so positive for clients and they asked you to do another spread on the same topic, or just rephrase the same questions? No. I don't let room for that. I kind of feel like when that happens, if that happens, I should say, because I've had similar things happen, it's my mistake. That means that I wasn't on top of things enough. And that may be a really harsh answer. I'm sorry, because I don't exactly know what you're talking about. But for instance, for me, that would be, I don't, if that happens still now, then I would, be on top of that quicker, I think. But back in the day, or actually sometimes still when I'm not feeling really particularly good that day, or that, we are human beings, so we do have off days, or basically when you're not feeling all that great and all that confident and all that assertive, um, sometimes there's this moment in the reading when the client starts to interpret what I said, but twisting it in how they wanted to, what they wanted to hear, the positive message. And sometimes that they really go with that for a while, and I quickly say, or at least I try, that is my intention, to quickly say, if it's not correct what they're saying, right? Because there's nothing wrong with trying to conclude everything I've said just to make sense for yourself in your brain. I would do the same thing probably, right? Try to not interpret the cards and just let what the reader is saying sink in. But then there's that difference that needs to be, I don't know, not addressed, but recognized quite quickly. If it's not what you said, if it's not what you meant, you don't have to say that's wrong, but just correct them in what it is supposed to be. That was my interpretation of this question. What did you actually ask? The reading turns out quite not so positive. They asked you to do another spread. Just no. I mean, I can pull a few more cards, but that doesn't mean I retract what I just said, right? On the same topic. It's fine if it's within the time limit or whatever, or they just want to keep going. If it's a private one, then the time keeps, it's not part of the same reading. We add, you have to take care of your business as well. Or just rephrase the same questions. I'm not sure about that last part, what you mean with that, rephrase the same question, but do another spread on the same topic. Just, I don't know. I don't think I've had that happened. Yeah, you're saying, yes, I get it. I think it's correct. Sometimes people just want to hear what they want. Yes, absolutely. But we're the same, right? Because that's a human thing. And we have taught ourselves to unlearn that. That's what we are doing, the ones who delved into tarot or spiritual practice, right? We have taught ourselves to go back to being open to suggestions, being open to the possibilities, to anything. With now the experience, the life experience you have. Yeah. I also have sometimes, not as much anymore though. I think something did change in my attitude. That is what I was trying to say. I feel that when the client, whoever this person is, feels that opportunity, that's because I unknowingly gave it to them, that opening to change what I've said. Of course, some people are very strong-willed and they will just not leave as long as they will change the message. That is out of your hands. But as long as they're still there and trying to hear what you are saying, it is about the attitude also that you bring, I kind of feel, to say, hey, look, I know what I'm doing, and that doesn't mean that I cannot be wrong, because we are human beings, but that does mean that I know this craft, right? So you came to me and this is what it is, at least for now. So if this is something that you do not want to hear, I understand that. But then this is a very good point. These are very good points to focus on so that you can, go in that direction. That doesn't mean that everything, I just refuse to change the message to, you know what? You're right. Everything will go fine. No bumps in the road whatsoever. Just know. I mean, any realistic person knows that this doesn't happen. Not completely, at least, right? Oh no, I have a friend who tortured me once with future love readings. She wanted desperately to see love where there was none. Yeah, it's hard. Finally, I had to answer like you did with your mom. Oh yeah, I mean, was I harsh with my mom? But it was the same question. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not all bad if you ask the same question, but you have to do some work, right? You have to understand that. You have to understand also that sometimes what we want is not what we will get. Sometimes what we want is not what we need. Yeah, there's a difference there. Anyway, before I wrap up, because I kind of feel like this is the right time to say thanks, everyone. Anything want to say? Does anyone want to say something? Lennon, your question made me talk a lot. So maybe you want to say something if you're still here, or anyone else. Are you still here? Did I answer all the questions? I think so. It's lovely to talk to you guys. I also wish that there was this option that actually worked to, have different screens and then to actually talk to you and to hear you talk back as well, as in a group conversation thing. I think that would be lots of fun, because here is just, me talking, as I said, and then reading. And then sometimes in written words, written comments, I'm not sure if I'm exactly talking about the thing that you wanted me to address. You know what I mean? So there's just room for interpretation right there. Just want to say thank you for the great live chat. Thank you too. It was really fun. You had some really good questions. Thank you, smiley face. That's so sweet. Maddie is saying, this has been lovely, lovely. I was cooking dinner while listening. I hope it was a great dinner filled with layers. Thanks, Anna. This was a nice way to spend Sunday evening. Yes, it was for me too. Oh man, this has been such a lazy day, but I have been super, super busy deliberately every day and every night of this week. So it actually was a great week. I had a great, great week. Saw lots of friends, had great conversations, had many beers also, but not tonight. Well, I have one left. I have one in the house. We'll see what happens to it. I haven't been too chatty, but I have really enjoyed being here. Yes, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you. Oh my God, it's Sunday. Yes, it is, Linda. It is Sunday. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. This was great. I feel that every time I do a live chat, it becomes longer, but that is just because I love doing this. Thank you so much. And, I don't know, I really enjoy this connection, this direct connection, but also in comments, in videos. Don't be afraid to just leave something, a question, an insight, something that you don't agree with what I said, or view it differently, or ask me about, some cards that, I don't know, just in the comments underneath YouTube. I feel that is where I especially like, because of the medium, I think, because it's so as a person who makes videos, you kind of just put your message out there and then wait for the interaction to happen, right? So thank you for doing that, and gracias, Anna. Enjoy and have a nice week. Yes, you too. And points to your dog and boyfriend that they allowed you to do this and take your time. Well, I'll let them know. Thanks. Yes, we have yet to eat, but that's fine. We had a very late lunch. And yes, I mean, thank you. You all know this. You are appreciated. Thank you very much. And I'll see you all in the next one. I have a video planned for midnight Amsterdam time, Monday. So in a few hours, actually, really. Yeah, let me know what you think of that, because it's something. Just the last little thing that I wanted to add about that video. I have set this idea that I will only buy 4 new decks this year. The first one was at Imok. The second one was at, I said Litha, but it's not. It was Beltane. Then this is the time of year, Llamas, right? That I would get the third deck, and then at Samhain, the last deck, which I think will happen. Now, let me know underneath this video, even though I acquired a new deck, but I also let go of quite a few. It's a new version of a deck. So does that count as my deck for Llamas? Is this my Llamas Lunasa deck? Or is it just, I didn't get a third deck yet? Let me know. I'll see you later. Bye.